Also, one thing I wanted to let y'all know is that most of the stuff that I'm going to be talking about tonight is biblically related. So I know not everybody out there believes in the Bible and stuff like that. So if you don't and you're in here, just make sure y'all keep an open mind, Um, and to those who do, and maybe I might be I'm wrong about something, feel free to correct me in the comments below. I'm always open to corrections when it comes to this kind of stuff. So with that being said, keep an open mind. No bashing, none of that stuff. My mods will throw you out the door real quick. And with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and get started on this first topic. Um, if God reacts off of emotion, we would all be in the lake of fire. So imagine the overwhelming power and patience that He has. Um, and basically, what I mean is, mods, get them out of here. And yeah, so basically, what I mean is, we as humans, we react off of emotion a lot, more than we would probably like to admit. And if God were to do that, He would throw a lot of us, most of us, probably all of us, honestly, into the lake of fire for transgressing the law, not keeping our words, doing all the things that we're not supposed to do because we are overwhelmed, we are tempted and overwhelmed with sin, whether it be fornication, whether it be robbing, murder, um, yeah. So there's a lot of things that we are overwhelmingly tempted by, and if He reacted off of pure emotion without the patience that He has, we wouldn't be here. But because He's God, He's all powerful God, He has the patience needed to work with us. We are not perfect, but we are not perfect human beings by any means necessary. So just the fact that the snap of the finger you could be gone, sent to the lake of fire that quick, it's crazy to think about. It's like whoa. Um, you know, literally all of us as human beings. We live life by a thread. We are living only by a thread. You may not realize it because you don't see it like that. But literally, He could get out of here. Literally, He could just, pull the plug. He could press a button. He could snap His fingers. He could even wave His hand if He wanted to, and you would be gone. Can you imagine having that kind of power? I mean, I can't because the human mind won't be able to comprehend the knowledge that He has, the power that He has, the patience that He has. I mean, just imagine doing what He does, even for half a day. He doesn't sleep. He doesn't slumber. He's always has his eye on His people. He's watching everything that happens. Exactly, it would crumble us. Our minds would implode to the point to where we would probably actually um, become unalive because of the amount of knowledge that He has. Can you imagine getting to even just be able to have a conversation with Him? All the things that He could tell us, fill us up with knowledge and wisdom, even for just an hour, or 30 minutes or 10 minutes. Can you imagine all the things that He could tell us? You know, I think if I could, I would ask Him what it was like before the earth was made, before time existed, because He exists outside of time, space, and matter. So I would wonder what it was like outside of that, what He did outside of that. It makes you wonder. It's like the lore of the universe. You know how every TV show or game has lore behind it. I use Five Nights at Freddy's for example. It's like the lore behind it. Like what happened to the animatronics, what happened beforehand, what it was like. It's like that. It's like what was it like for God before time, space, and matter, before the angels were created, before the heavens were created, before anything was created. What did He do? Where did He come from? It's like it's almost like it's a portal that you could find that has existed before but has disappeared. It's like legend. Hearing about it's like legend. It's true, but you always wanted to find out for yourself what it was like before time, beforehand, before we were made, before heaven and earth was made, before everything. Just imagine space. What does space look like before all this? Before we came into play, what does space look like? What did Was it just nothing? Was it just nothing? Like where did he reside at? It's all these different things that you think about. It's like, dude, you don't understand the amount of knowledge you could get from him, the amount of wisdom you could get from him, just from having a conversation with him. And it's just it blows my mind honestly when I think about it, because our brains could not comprehend that much knowledge at all. You know, maybe not even maybe just like a very tiny fragment, maybe, possibly, I don't know. But to be able to, we wouldn't even be able to memorize all that kind of knowledge, dude. Can you imagine, like, before time existed, what happened? And if we could figure that out, would we even be able to comprehend it with our minds? It's like, it's almost like playing a game, right? That, and there's certain areas that you wish you could get to, like glitch out of, and you've seen it, like you've seen it happen on like videos or whatever, and you tried so hard to do it yourself in the game, like do those glitches to get to those certain areas, but you just can't. That's kind of what it reminds me of thinking about it. It's like you want to get to that, you want to understand, you want to see, but you just can't, because it's like there's just that invisible wall that's separating you from God, and stuff like that, and from that knowledge. And it's just like, dude, it's crazy. You could become the most knowledgeable person on the earth just by having a small conversation with God. That's how much knowledge he has, and he has even more than that. It's crazy, man. But at the same time, I feel like that drives us to be the best versions of us that we can be for him, because it's like, he is this cosmic being. He is this spiritual, eternal being that decided to make us in his image. Imagine a God choosing you out of all people to be made out of his image. It's like, wow, he really chose to make us. He could have just had his angels and be like, yo, because his angels, the angels that he has now, are pretty much incorruptible. I mean, I'm sure they can make the choice to fall away just like the other ones did, but I feel like they don't want to. They don't want to, or they don't have the ability, excuse me, the ability to make that choice. And it's like he could have just stuck with his angels. But no, he decided to do even more and make us in his image. His angels, from what I understand, are not made in his image. We are, as humans, and we're lower than angels on the hierarchy ladder. We are lower than angels. It goes God, angels, us, demons, and Satan. So it's like the fact that he made us a lower being in his image instead of making the angels in his image, it really shows us, like, wow, he like, it's like he chose us. And it's just like, it makes you wonder why, but at the same time it's cool. It's like a God chose us to be his creation. He could have chose dogs, he could have chose cats, he could have chose lions, tigers, bears, snakes, monkeys, elephants. He could have chose those creations. And to a certain extent he did, but he specifically chose us to be his people. And it's just like, wow, it's amazing when you think a cosmic being like that has the ability to think about us, something small, so small compared to him, and he decided to make us to be his people. You know, he could have chose roaches if he wanted to, but it's like he chose us, and it's just, when you really think about it, it's like, wow. It kind of makes you feel a little special when you think about it. It's like, wow, he chose us. And the fact that Satan and all those angels could wanted to throw it all away and did throw it all away, it just blows your mind. It's like, why? Why would you throw that away? Why? Can you imagine the immense amount of peace and joy and happiness there is in heaven like that? And just, there's no worries, there's no um, sorrows, there's none of that stuff in heaven. Um, well, in certain levels of heaven, there is one level of heaven where there are the fallen angels. They're held in prison until the day of judgment. But The Book of Enoch explains all that. So if y'all haven't read it yet, and this freaking fly, dude, I don't even know how it got in here. Um, if y'all haven't read the Book of Enoch, I would really recommend y'all checking it out because it is a very good book. It's a very interesting book. It explains a lot of stuff. It fills in a lot of gaps between Genesis and Exodus. So if y'all haven't read it yet, go check it out. You can download it actually on the App Store. Just look up the Book of Enoch and you can download it from there and read it. Or you can look it up on YouTube and listen to an audiobook reading. Um, but either way, I would recommend checking it out because it's a really good book. It explains a lot. It explains the different levels of heavens. It explains how we learned about the stars. It explains how we learned about weapons and making them. It explains how we learned about enchantments and casting spells. It explains about how women learned how to wear makeup and use that to attract men. It explains about all these types of different things, you know. And I'm sorry if people get offended about it. I don't care. It's facts, you know. we weren't um, we weren't supposed to do all that. So I mean, if you get offended by it, you know, you can always change the channel. I could care less. You know, I'm here to speak facts and the truth, not cater to your feelings and emotions. So with that being said, man, yeah, that's what I wanted. This actually drew out a whole lot longer than I wanted it to. So with that being said, man, I'm gonna go ahead and say that if y'all want me to